This is how wrestling fans cope with the fact that they're into what is effectively soap opera for rednecks.
When FD Signifier is conspicuously silent about Palestine for years, people are not aggressing on him publicly as kayfabe. He justifies his existence by pointing to his view count. When FD Signifier makes videos like this, he's thinking of me. And he's thinking of Bad Empanada. And he's thinking of like nobodies. Absolute nobodies are what populate this person's brain. Why is he calling up Brittany Simon?
Oh, he's not calling her out. He's really happy that he's been learning from her.
I mean, I knew that FD Signifier was primarily catering to a white liberal audience that was actually extraordinarily racist, in fact, but they were too racist to recognize it. But that's surprising, I will say.
And those of you who saying that were probably dick riders for Graham Plattner just a few weeks ago. And
Hey, where were you on Graham Plattner before you got called out? Before everyone else already talked about it? Where were you? I love this advertisement. Watch Goon World Episode 1 only on Nebula here. Alright, here we go.
Alright.
Great.
My camera display is acting up. I am in the middle of post-big video depression, and I'm not even centered on screen, and I haven't shaved. So we just gonna see how this works out.
And your video is nonetheless edited, which means that this is performative and weird to do.
I ran at y'all for the next 30 minutes.
You know, it'd be strange. Like, real quick, just pause it.
Uh-huh.
It'd be really weird if, like, he's doing this right now to, like, create a visual styling and a tone that's fake, as if he's purely performing for an audience that, you know, isn't really in on it, but maybe sort of is. That would be weird.
I was thinking about this. You know, I was thinking about this earlier today. Like, there's nothing more darkly ironic than a leftist video essay that has some big corporation having an ad plug in the middle of it, because it's like, hey, you think the company that's like giving you this couple $1,000 or whatever, you think they're invested in you because they think you will contribute to the end of capitalism? No. You're a safe vector for their business. And it's like, why do you suppose that is? It's because you're harmless. I was talking to my editor the other day, and he made a great point. Nick Fuentes has been overtly anti-Semitic his entire career. This never endangered his business until the point where Donald Trump was on his big Zog arc, and he was still railing about Jewish people. It is not the case that taking a pro-Palestine stance on social media intrinsically is a disadvantage business-wise, or taking an anti-Israel stance is intrinsically disadvantageous business-wise. It depends on who you are and how you're situated, and so on. And it's like, it is, I think the most offensive part about virtually all of the major left-wing creators on YouTube, I think with like a handful of exceptions, and it's weird, I feel like I'm constantly complimenting Angela Collier in a way that bothers me, but it's like there's so few of them. It's just literally because she just makes stuff that's well thought out, and that doesn't have like ad breaks in it. It's like, so much of it is so offensively harmless, and not harmless in the sense of it doesn't make people worse, but harmless in the sense, like, this is so obviously completely ineffectual, completely toothless. It has no edge. It has no capacity to change how people critically engage with literally anything. It's like when you play video games all day for like 10 hours and you sit down to write at the end of the day and you're too tired. That's what it does. That's what it does to people who watch that stuff. Their creative juices are burnt out by the time they're finished with it, so they go to sleep, they play video games, whatever, thinking they've done a thing, and they wake up the next day and they do the same thing again. They'll listen to it in their earbuds when they're working or whatever, and that's it. And it's like, it is a giant jammer. It's a giant intellectual jamming device. It's making leftists online really dumb. I think it has made leftists online really dumb, which is unfortunate because they should be the only smart ones. Anyway, sorry. Okay, let's do this. Are you still with me? You went quiet. Okay.
Oh, I'm here.
I want to start today with a little
Sounds like you were agreeing with FD Signifier's thesis. FD Signifier is one of the biggest offenders, though. Like, genuinely. So it doesn't really matter. Like, maybe I do agree with this thesis, but I also know why he's making this thesis. And it's largely
I don't agree with this thesis.
You don't?
Just so you know, I don't. I certainly do not.
We'll
agree
see
with
what it
this
is.
thesis here.
I'm just back to the topic of leftists becoming really dumb. I have noticed that there is zero capacity to distinguish one thesis from another one. It's based off of the vibes of the appearance of the words. It is so bizarre. Like that hit piece that was responding to me on social contract theory, or like it was on like John Locke or whatever, the Mearsheimer one. And I made the point that actually liberalism is not based on inalienable rights. The premise of liberalism is that alienable rights can be exchanged and produce legitimacy as a result by obtaining the consent of the governed through that exchange. And he showed quotes from John Locke's second treatise that said stuff to the effect of like, you cannot be placed under an arbitrary power or whatever. Like there's no condition under which you can be justly subjected to arbitrary total domination by another person. It's like this isn't even the same type of sentence. And I've noticed this across the board. Like there is this weird like thinking-ish type thing that people are starting to do as a result of the consumption of this stuff, as if it is what academics and thinkers do. And it's really disturbing. Because
it's really not. Like
yeah.
this video is, so the part of the video he's going to be going into, and I'll kind of prefigure this because it's just easier.
Go.
Is this idea about, because he's going to talk about wrestling, he's going to talk about kayfabe, and he's going to go with what is the YouTube academics version of what kayfabe is, which is the suspension of disbelief. Well, you watch fucking wrestling, which is not kayfabe. 1, 2, not unique to wrestling. 3, not an interesting concept. 4, nothing to do with anything else he's talking about. And 5, completely incoherent as an idea and concept itself. But there is a YouTube video that was done fucking some time ago about anything. Kayfabe. And they don't know, 1, what it means. 2, what it is. It's, again, the vibe of it. The idea of the thing that they're sort of gesturing at is people who just take part in the false vision or the ideology that they're seeing in the performance. And that is itself, 1, incoherent. 2, not actual political critique. And again, 3, not fucking kayfabe. So it's, what you have is this awful feedback loop of these shitty YouTube videos that make this comment over and over and over. And as it gets laundered, it becomes a critique of vibes itself. Like, just to talk about kind of and layer on what you're saying, I find it to be just the worst part of all of this is the way that, you know, interesting ideas become laundered into basically this, again, basic bitch paste of nothing.
Well, into noise. And the problem is
worst.
sort of like how AI slop chokes out real art from the marketplace. This stuff drowns out actual things. And I'm not bitter about this. This has always been the case. Academics have always had to deal with the fact that they're going to be popularizers making bank off of misrepresentations of their work. This has been an ongoing thing forever. Jordan Peterson was the last iteration of this before AI came and made every single person and their grandmother a proliferator of the same thing. But what has happened lately is because more and more people are becoming intellectually awakened in a similar way as people who start to get involved in activism and in academia are, through this content, you have a whole bunch of people who suddenly have like this spark ignited, and then their eyes are just like glued to shit, and they never develop beyond that. And it reminds me so much of what happened in like a Christian apologetics culture, where you'd have a bunch of people suddenly like invigorated to think about philosophical topics because now they've had some existential crisis, some shocking encounter with somebody who disagrees with them, and now they're invested in thinking through these problems and figuring out how to communicate them and argue them. But they found somebody who gives them the intellectual equivalent of binaural beats that make them feel nice and calm. And so they launch off from that, and now they're just arguing on behalf of these figures. So like you had people like William Lane Craig and whatnot, who would present this really bad philosophical material, But for a novice, it's enough, and then they would start engaging in culture war shit. And it seems like that's what's happening with leftists online with stuff like this.
Atominox super chatted $5. Now please tell me, how is it possible to spend so much time streaming, watching videos, and playing, while also claiming to read as much as you do?
I don't actually play that many video games, but in answer to your question, I don't sleep. So that would be how.
That's the answer to the question. I have kids, and Sunday makes a joke with me too, but no, the reality of the situation is that you make time. Like as I said, you just make time for the things you want to.
Do I have the face of someone who gets beauty sleep? Don't answer that question. Anyways. But thank you for the $5.
Story about professional wrestling. Yeah, I know we're happy about that. It's the late 80s and the WWE, then known as the WWF, is becoming big business, as there's something about professional wrestling that really captures the zeitgeist of the 80s. And two of the
That music, I recognize that. What is that from? Dun 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 dun. What is that? What is that? I think PS Skim reads. How fucking dare you? How dare you? I do not. I literally wake up. I shovel down yogurt. I read. And then when my back hurts, I lie back and I play Balatro. You know what Balatro is great for? It doesn't take a lot of time. Hello, Jake. Don't even joke about that. Don't even joke about that. Do you know how many years I have lost off of my life from reading stuff slowly and carefully until like 3 a.m. My head pounding. It's a fucking nightmare. I've condemned myself to doing nothing but term papers for the rest of my life. I love it.
These top draws, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Iron Sheik, are in an on-screen feud that they're touring basically across the country, because the WWE, for those who don't know, is kind of like a traveling circus, and we'll come back to that concept later.
That is Bellatrix music. Oh my god!
Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sorry, I got a noise, and I've got.
I thought everybody was saying Bellatrix because they were accusing me of playing Bellatrix, which would be true, but it's like, oh, it is Bellatrix music. Damn it, he's ruined Balatro music for me. I like that song. Skim reading is not bad. I don't recommend skim reading. If you're trying to engage with something seriously, you should read it with intent. Depending on what it is, some things you can skim, like bad stuff that you're just trying to like sort of gauge really quickly. Sure, there's too much to read. I'm not gonna disagree with that. But like, if you are trying to respond to something, skimming is generally a bad idea. Because you're gonna miss fine-grained details that might very seriously change the nature or of what you're reading or your judgment about it. So I strongly disagree. I think skimming is just a few degrees away from using ChatGPT to do your research for you. Thoughts on audiobooks? I like audiobooks, but I don't recommend audiobooks for research. So like Dungeon Crawler Carl is a guilty pleasure for me. Audiobook is great. Would I recommend you reading Anti-Oedipus in audiobook? God, no. Certain history books you could probably get away with reading an audiobook. It depends on how like the style they're written in. You know, like if you want to read The Guns of August in audiobook format, unreliable history book by the way, but just as an example, you could probably read that way. Barbara Tuchman is a very simple and clear writer, and you can probably get through it with audio. Dune has a great audiobook. I recommend reading Dune silently, in my opinion. You could probably get away with reading James C. Scott in audio format. He's, again, very clear writer. Trying to think of who else. Bruno Latour works really well in audio, oddly enough. But I don't recommend it simply because he requires attention, but his writing is very lucid. Something like this would probably be okay in audio format. Mushroom at the End of the World. Great book, by the way. I'm reading that at the moment. I would not read The Idea of Pure Critique in audio format. Dungeon Crawler Carl is amazing. I love it. That's my fun book right now. I'm also going through the remaining Ian Banks culture novels because I've read like a handful of them. I started reading them. I read The Player of Games in high school. Badly. And I don't know if I read it badly. I read it as a high schooler though. And I started reading Accession because it was mentioned by the Talos Principle too, and I was like, oh, that's neat. Capital in audiobook format?
I'm back.
That sounds like
I'm back, sorry.
hell. No worries. You ready?
Yes. Did I miss anything?
No. We were talking about audiobooks. Don't start. Here we go.
Duggan is one of many all-American white boy chunguses that the WWE has during this time and really even to today. He's big, he's silly as fuck, and he represents the American mythos and aesthetics that the crowd loves to root for. The Iron Sheik, on the other hand, is probably one of the best in the long line of scary foreign characters, probably because he was genuinely Iranian, and this was a time where the Middle East was taking over for Russia and East Asia as the place most Americans feared the most, and thus, like I said, they were fighting all over the country, putting on shows wherever they landed. Despite this obviously problematic setup, it works. Wrestling stories can work even when they're made up of absolutely awful ingredients, sometimes because they pull on absolutely awful ingredients. And one of the reasons for this is a concept called kayfabe, which in short, to quote the great Super Eye Patch Wolf, is the unique unreality of the world of wrestling, where it's understood by the audience that most of what's happening in a wrestling show is not genuine, but the audience agrees to believe in it anyway.
It's just not this. Like, just letting you know, it's just not this. This is how wrestling fans cope with the fact that they're into what is effectively soap opera for rednecks, which again is fine. Everyone's got their stupid. It's do that thing, but there is no unique unreality for the audience. Kayfabe is very particularly something that is about
kayfabe
wrestlers.
Yes, it has to do with like the call outs and like it's the drama on the stage, right?
No, that would be a play. How is that different from me watching a play? Do I believe that the person on stage is actually Hamlet? Do I watch Lost and think they're actually on an island?
No, but that's the thing though. It's like that's known. Like it's known that it's fake. Like some bald guy going. A play. Yeah.
So is a play.
Yeah.
So there's no difference. It's a performance.
Yes.
Yes, that's not kayfabe.
Okay, go on.
Kayfabe is that they did that when not in the ring, that their lives of the wrestlers very particularly,
right.
And again, it's semi-unique and we can talk about the etymology, but very specifically it has to do with the wrestlers.
Well, I wasn't saying, sorry, just to be clear, I wasn't saying it was specific to the ring. Like, you know that, here, I'll show you a thing. Hang on. There's that,
But again, it's not about audience participation.
I know.
The audience is not fundamentally any part of this.
I know. I'm not arguing with you. That's the enemy on the screen, not me. It's like the hang on, what's that quote thing called at Sacrifice? This one. It's like this. It's like this shit.
Men are created, you know, they say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Small Joe and you can see that statement is not true. See, normally if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a genetic freak and I'm not normal. So you got a 25% at best at beating me. And then you add Kurt Angle to the mix, your chances of winning drastically go down. See, the three-way at Sacrifice, you got a 33 1/3 chance of winning. But I got a 66 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me and he's not even going to try. So, Samoa Joe, you take your 33 1/3 chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 1/3 chance of winning at Sacrifice. But then you take my 75% chance of winning, if we used to go one-on-one, and then add 66 2/3%, I got 141 2/3 chance of winning at Sacrifice. See, Joe, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at Sacrifice.
It's like that shit.
There's the sort of, again, it's much more in line with like luchador style wrestling and other versions of that, where the thing in the ring never stops, and there's never a spoken word about it. You know, you never see Batman and the Joker in the comics working out. But again, it's not about the audience.
It's not. It
fundamentally.
doesn't
And
have to
this
be
is-
believed. It's just it's a part of it.
Yes, correct. Belief never has to enter
Yes.
into it, which is fundamental. And again, the guy he's quoting, which is one of the videos that went super viral on this whole stupid thing.
Oh, hold that
One
thought.
sec.
Hang on.
At Suresh0T478 super chatted $5. Please play what IJSUT sent you.
After Brooks finishes his point, go on.
I don't remember where I was.
Good. Here we go. If Nolan's Odyssey was acted this way, Emily Wilson wouldn't be complaining.
Yeah. But it's the thing is, people talking about this being kayfabe. Oh, everyone knows Macho Man. It's like, yeah, this is literally just performing. Do you not understand that performing is a thing? There's nothing in wrestling that really makes it unique in the large scale of these things. It's a question of whether or not you want to believe that that's the case of this or how this works or whatever.
And-
like it's just silly. And again, it's fine. Everyone's got their silly shit. I liked wrestling when I was younger. I probably will again. It's fun. I've done backer wrestling. I was into like ECW shit. I thought it was funny, but the idea that there's like some noble philosophical comment or something that papers over this that's more than just, hey, I'm not the same as the woman that Harlan Ellison writes about who met one of the actors from Bonanza and like talked to him like he was his role, which happens a lot to actors. It's just insane.
Well, it's also I'm going to preempt him a little bit here. He's going to equivocate online contentions to kayfabe, but let's be clear. When FD Signifier is conspicuously silent about Palestine for years, people are not aggressing on him publicly as kayfabe. People are angry. They're disgusted. Like there is real animosity there. That's not a performance. That's actual. And yeah. And like what he effectively he is doing, because he's done a very bad job of covering over the fact that he has effectively spent the last few years gaming the algorithm and pretending to be a leftist while actually being secretly extraordinarily conservative and anti-intellectual and very petty. Like, he plays himself off as like this paternalistic uncle figure, and the fact of the matter is he's actually more of a Homelander figure in terms of his insecurity. He justifies his existence by pointing to his view count, because he does not care to know things or to telegraph useful information. He cares about how successful he is on YouTube, and that's it. Which means basically that when you consider FD Signifier as an actor, there's no reason to feel any bitterness or emotionality towards him, because you are just looking at Google. Like, this is just the less successful Mr. Beast, the very less successful Mr. Beast. And he can't handle that, so he tries to talk about politics every now and then, and he embarrasses himself because he just copies the people around him, because he actually doesn't have any passion for anything, either for political justice or whatever. And then he gets called out for it because other people who pay a little bit more attention, and some of them are also doing the same shit, start to expose him for that. And now he's like, you know what? I am done with political content, quote unquote, because you're all not serious about this. It's all about just like making a big spectacle of pointing out what a shit human being I am. And I just want to make money. Wait, scratch that. Sorry. I just want to do stuff that's, meaningful, quote unquote. And it's pathetic. And it's like the key sign, by the way, just as a general rule of thumb, and he doesn't have the discipline for this, but the general rule of thumb is, if you are in the comments of a channel my size, flaunting your view count, like cat videos don't outperform you, as a sign that you are correct, you might be one of the most embarrassing human beings of your generation, without the benefit of anonymity to hide it. Yeah.
It's up there with like Elon Musk and his way that he like will tweet at someone who has like 50 followers and like say, and it just to like put him on blast. It's so embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. And the thing is, like, he knows it, which is why it stings him. And it's sad, because it's like, I consider myself a very generous guy, without taking an apology, without this guy making any acknowledgement whatsoever of how shitty he's been up to this point. If he suddenly turned a leaf and like gave a shit and tried, I'd forgive everything. I'd do that with fucking everybody. You and I have done that all the time with people. We've done that with Mearsheimer, who I fucking hate. We've done that with like we'll like judge people based on what they're doing. We don't care about their past. But unfortunately, this person's ego is so wrapped up in the guilt of the lie that is his entire platform. He can't do that. Can't do it. The worst.
We're taking us.
The funniest.
Please continue.
Yeah, the funniest part about stuff like this is that he's not doing this with like the activities of big actors like Hassan Piker or Mehdi Hassan or God forbid like actual politicians in mind. When FD Signifier makes videos like this, he's thinking of me. And he's thinking of Bad and Panada. And he's thinking of like nobodies. Which means that absolute nobodies are what populate this person's brain.
Anyway, because our belief is a genuine part of the show, and that's what makes it fun. This is why it's so annoying when
it's not even resentment. I feel bad for these people.
Wrestling fans say,
"Hey, you know that's not real, right?"
Which is an insult to our intelligence. But I don't know.
I just want to talk. This is one of those things that just gets to me because it's really frustrating to hear people talk about this over and over. Like I'm so mad at this video because it's just like someone who watched a handful of YouTube videos and thinks they have a grasp of things when like kayfabe as a term wasn't invented until the mid to late 80s, basically stealing from a huge number of people that came before it. The idea that it was new is stupid.
You're assuming someone this lazy even bothered to write this.
No, he watched videos on it and he rambled this out. And I don't care either way because the content's the big deal. And people are asking, like, what is kayfabe? It's a bullshit term for specifically American wrestling for things that had been done in wrestling for literally decades. Literally decades. Like, if you haven't seen the movie Man on the Moon,
why is he calling
Andy
out
Kaufman?
Hang on. Why is he calling out Brittany Simon?
Oh, he's not calling her out. He's really happy that he's been learning from her. She's good.
Just really, does he know? Does he know about Brittany Simon's level system and how she ranked Malcolm X as a 2 on the intellectual scale because he's not a fully actualized person with agency?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that FD Signifier was primarily catering to a white liberal audience that was actually extraordinarily racist, in fact, but they were too racist to recognize it. But that's surprising, I will say.
There's a great book on the world of Lucha Libre. That's what it's called. I used to spend a lot of time going to, and I knew people who did Lucha Vavoom, which is my favorite luchador. Like, it's the most amazing fucking wrestling thing ever. If you ever get a chance to see it.
I'm never going to. Do you think I'm ever going to get a chance to see luchador wrestling?
It is entirely possible because they've traveled and they've done it. If you haven't seen it, it's incredible.
Listen, when Trump is out of the White House, I'm going to visit Portland, okay? And if there's a luchador thing, we'll go.
Okay, I will. I mean, there is, but I'll see what I can find. But the thing about like lucha, like as a setup. The idea of who you were was the secret. So the kayfabe, keeping it up all the time.
Yeah.
You didn't reveal who you were. People did this. They had entire careers in lucha as a thing and just never shared who they were until like retirement. It's this huge deal. It's incredible. This was all before like whatever kayfabe bullshit term that was created. That, by the way, was ultimately used by McMahon. The Secretary of Education's husband, to get around being part of athletic taxation and rules. So it's always about...
Doesn't Polyphonica says, doesn't FD admit to using a team of writers? Didn't he tell you that when you talked to him back in 2024? Well, I don't remember that. God. If he does, that's so basically it's ChatGPT. But bougie ChatGPT, because that's still bullshit. That's bullshitting. That's your career is and your product is bullshit.
Oh my God.
That would explain.
Have them find that clip.
It would explain a lot. Well, if he was talking to me, it was all recorded on my other channel, so I should still have that interview. I should just publish that interview. I'll have my editor just do it up so it's nice and it's transformative, and I'll have it put up on Sunday Dark. But like, here's the thing. What you need to understand is that people like FD Signifier are very popular amongst people who think that it is a moral endeavor to listen to a black content creator, irrespective of what they're actually doing. And so what sort of happens is you get, it's kind of like, it's like when someone like Christopher Nolan, amidst many different ethnic groups, especially in the Middle East, being actively genocided, populates his cast with people that would be recognizably oppressed communities in America in particular. And white liberals think really highly of themselves for watching it and liking it for that. It's like that. A lot of people watch FD Signifier in that key. A lot of people,
the kind of people who,
yes,
the line he just used would walk right past them.
Yes.
And I can't stand this idea that he says, oh, it's because we agree to believe, which is a fundamentally incoherent sentence that has no meaning in any way.
Let's take it literally for a second, really. So when did we do that exactly? Like when do we agree to believe this exactly? Oh, there is no when. Oh, so fundamentally you are a social contract theorist. Well done. You are someone who believes that society is validated, is valorized, and institutions are valorized by the fact that they exist because clearly it's the function of an agreement that we've tacitly made for them to exist. It's ridiculous.
I mean, belief as it stands is itself a fraught issue to even consider as a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a problem to consider. But like for this to have that kind of thing, Susan Sontag wrote a great piece on camp that comes to mind because, again, camp and drag and pro wrestling are all fundamentally the same mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
And Sontag talks about camp, like John Waters and others that do like an overperformance, that it requires a presumed naivete.
Yes.
The same way that I watched Neil Breen movies. If Neil Breen was self-aware, his films would not be enjoyable.
No, it would ruin it.
The misunderstanding for camp is the same as all of
yes.
It's not so much that wrestling requires the audience be duped or choose to believe or whatever silly nonsense version of that. It's actually that the performance needs to itself be so coherent that in that moment when that's expected, the performance is there. And again, this is why it's much more in line with like a play or a TV show or other things.
Nathan Drake says, do you really think white people are watching hour-long videos about Tyler Perry? Do you even know who that is? Yes, I do actually think that. It's a really strange, you're projecting your ignorance. Nathan, feel free to call in, please. Feel free to call in. I'll be nice. I'm not mean to people who call in. I think that takes guts. Call in, join the Discord server. We want opinionated people who are bold. Call in, express your grievance. I want to hear it. I'll put a link in the chat. There you go. Boom. And none of this bullshit about you being at work or you're being dead at the time. I know you're alive. Call in.
We do
I know your phone microphone works.
Wrestling, so maybe that is a warranted question. But yes, pretty much everyone that watches wrestling knows that the outcomes are predetermined and that The Undertaker is not actually a zombie undead wizard. All that said, there was a time back in the 80s and before where the audience wasn't fully in on what was happening. It was still somewhat understood, but wrestlers were very serious about keeping the lines between reality and unreality much more blurred. Sometimes wrestlers would go to extreme measures just to stay in character. Bad guy wrestlers would never be nice to fans in public, no matter how popular they are or how nice they might have been in real life. One great story is of Scott Sampson, aka Nikita Koloff. He was so serious about keeping kayfabe, he learned Russian and only spoke Russian when out in public to stay in character at all times, because he was like this Ivan Drago type of guy. Of course, again, this is the 80s, but in real life, he was a big Christian Midwestern boy from Minnesota. At this time, wrestlers believed that if they broke kayfabe, it would kill the business, that they needed to keep the audience guessing in order for them to be hooked, that the audience had to invest in them sincerely and believe everything they said, or they wouldn't actually care, which is what made
I got a question. Has FD Signifier ever talked about wrestling in the past? Is this a passion of his? Does anybody know?
I feel like you've reacted to a video or two where he's mentioned it.
Not kayfabe, about wrestling specifically.
No, wrestling.
I know the word kayfabe. I don't follow wrestling.
No, I think for wrestling. I mean, like, I think it's been a thing. I would also just 2 seconds. I'm being knocked on right now. 1 second. Yes, Violet.
His channel was originally a wrestling channel. Really? Really? Interesting. He's always talked about it? That's interesting. Not wrestling, but he has mentioned specifically kayfabe on another video. People mention kayfabe on YouTube all the time. It's not necessarily in connection with wrestling. Like he started making wrestling content, and then he got into political commentary. Is it still up? Because he's dwelling on it in a weird way. It's like this just doesn't matter to the question of I'm probably done with political content. It doesn't matter. So if I go to his videos and I look at his oldest content, it doesn't look like from 6 years ago. It doesn't look like we got wrestling stuff here. Like how long ago are we talking? Oh, here we go. Mike Tyson. That's wrestling. There we go. Got one. The black athletes. That probably counts. There's probably one in there. It's not a lot of wrestling content. Maybe he talks about it a lot inside. Like the title of this video isn't wrestling related.
But again, it's just to go back.
Yeah.
We literally just watched him talk about how belief doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do people not like logically? I know
No, they don't.
Question.
They don't.
But it's like if you lay out your argument logically, how do you you would go, hey, boy, I guess this is because people need to have a suspension of belief and believe really what's there. We're in on it. Well, no, it's not about if they believe. Like 2 minutes later, it's fucking crazy.
Because
also,
because
by the way,
people
all of
are
this thing.
Yeah.
But the thing I'm always fascinated because to me the whole point of ducking fees.
I know hang on. I know Mike Tyson. Hang on. I know Mike Tyson wasn't a wrestler. Okay. I'm just saying there's like some fighter in there. Okay, some kind of fighting thing. Go on. Sorry.
No, don't worry about it. It's you go
shirtless guy in a ring. Okay, that's the standard here. We're setting the bar real low. They could be fencing as long as they have their shirts off.
The whole point was that the need of the business to admit it was bullshit, and they did so under oath, and it was a big deal. That thing, like clearly, and it's what he's talking about here, like clearly belief never mattered to it. Instead, it's people wanting to have this idea that wrestling has some unique version of it that people believe that it's real while they're watching, and it's like they're 5 years old and they just want to like be able to say intellectually there's a reason they do what they do instead of just saying I enjoy watching big burly men manhandle each other. Just admit it. It's fine.
Story about Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Iron Sheik So Wow. See, despite the fact that they were mortal enemies in the ring, they were actually cool with each other. They were co-workers. And one day, Iron Sheik asked Jim Duggan for a ride from the venue they were at in New Jersey to the airport. While on the road, they picked up some beer and drank a little, which resulted in them getting pulled over because Jim Duggan, who's from New Orleans, I guess is not used to road rules outside of New Orleans, whatever. When he got pulled over, he told the police officer that he had marijuana in his pocket, and he thought it was going to be fine until the police officer took him out the car, searched it, and found out that the Iron Sheik had crack cocaine on him. News of this blew up by 80 standards at least. This was not, the world of Twitter. Both were punished, and to all that understood, kayfabe, as it had been known up until that point, was broken forever. Who would believe that these two men were more...
That the kayfabe, as it had been known to that point, like... What, the 2 years that term was around. Sorry, it's just like such a weird statement. Like this shit didn't happen. Like, oh, kayfabe's been 50 years in the WWF. It's a, my great grandfather was part of the W. It's like, come on, dude.
I think Valentine's put it very well. It's a point I've made before. FD's audience watches it as ASMR that's slightly more stimulating than actual ASMR. And I think this is the case with a lot of these people. It's the case with Destiny, certainly. People don't watch this stuff. Like, you and I are unusual in that we will have difficulty enjoying content if we perceive that we're being fed bullshit. That makes us angry. There's a kind of person that outnumbers us 1,000,000 to 1 that is not made angry by this. And they are fine with being fed bullshit because they want to pretend that in the other room there is Destiny clacking at his keyboard. Jesus. And he's their best friend. And he thinks they're really smart because he's like them. That's who watches this.
Yeah, no, it's fair. It's the kind of people who go.
It's like it's the same way I watch Red Letter Media, but I'm correct. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was about to actually not be far off from that. I agree with Red Letter Media on a huge number of things, by the way. But I also did like, it's relaxing. It's something in the background. But these are people talking about things that implement into the real world, that are about policy, that change. And I know you don't believe anything. These people are changing fundamentally, politics. And I'm not going to say that they are like the vanguards of anything. Certainly not even the vanguard. Like, these are just YouTubers. But the thing is, they're building and part of that very machine that is this bullshit thing that sort of pulls energy away from what could be something more.
Nathan Drake says he would call in if his situation permitted him. Well, I've got some good news for you, Nathan. I'm going to let you DM me whatever time slot you want. I'll bring you on. Just for you.
Who?
I don't know. Some random in chat. Don't worry about it.
Mortal enemies now that they were caught with cocaine and weed on the New Jersey Turnpike. Turns out, plenty of people. As the years went on, kayfabe, as it was understood in the wrestling world, changed into what it is today. The wrestlers are letting the audience in on the unreality of it all, and it's actually made the whole enterprise better, more creative, and more interesting. Because the audience now feels in on the fiction, they're not stopping to ask themselves, just how does Kane get the ring to set on fire whenever he swings his arms down? The wrestling audience, while still weird and problematic
I am depressed by the fact that people find this mentally satisfying. This is mindless.
times showed itself to be.
This is tedious to me. It's like, what is wrong with you guys? Aspire to more. Holy fuck.
Mature and amenable to enjoying their unique form of entertainment without the extreme measures the performers put themselves through for their entertainment. And the performers respect the audience enough to see them as peers in the storytelling instead of marks that need to be tricked in order to enjoy the show. So you might be.
No, they don't need to be tricked.
How
does camp work?
Customers.
How does camp work? Did they believe it? No. They don't need to. It's the play.
They enjoy the spectacle.
It's the play. It's part of the fun. Why do people watch Pro ZD? Do they think he's actually like that? Like,
producers of content and audience are never peers, and the wrestlers did not see them as peers. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about here. They're like, the audiences are equally involved in the come the fuck on.
Be asking, what does this have to do with political content, and why I'll probably never really make a video on Candace Owens.
Actually, you know what? I'll take it another step, because here's why this is fucking stupid. Like, one of the many reasons. The unreality of it didn't go away. What shifted in the 90s is actually having behind the scenes things going bad, where it was actually showing that the thing was bullshit. Having, the like TMZ style or Entertainment Tonight things about Hulk Hogan hates this fucking guy or this wrestler, like behind the scenes. Oh, he's going to leave his contract. Like, that became the actual cynical bullshit behind the scenes that is supposed to be hidden from everyone, became the center of everything, to the point where, like, ad absurdum in the 2000s, that was like Vince McMahon's personal storyline, was airing the behind the scenes business and cynicism. It's absurd to like have this absolutely broken, idealized view of all of this. It's just broken. Jesus Christ.
Before I explain this and bring this home, I want to shout out a creator named Brittany Simon, who
Thought you'd
Holy
enjoy that.
fuck. Sir, Brittany Simon classified
Let
herself...
her talk for a second.
No, I want to preamble this. Brittany... I'm going to pull this up. Hang on.
Oh no, just I want.
Hang
you
on.
like
Just calm
two
yourself.
sentences.
Stop
I'm so
stun
excited.
Stop
It's
stun
great.
locking the dialectic. Holy shit. She has one from 3 years
Let's
ago.
talk about the levels. Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
This is Brittany Simon, okay? I think this is a video. So I think if I go through... Oh, that's an alien. The core of the levels. Macro and micro. Macro, micro bubbles. Why they're good. And Avatar, The Last Airbender. Subcategories of the twos. Let's see here.
There are these two C's. Let's start there. Two C's are people that have a relationship to the bubbles. They know who they are, but they only have a certain relationship with themselves. It's very minimal. It's very bare bones. I know I like pizza, but if I ask them, what do you think the meaning of life is? Well, that might stunt them into silence. So they have a understanding that they like pizza, enough introspection to know they like girls or boys, but not enough introspection to know if they understand their relationship with themselves in the universe. These are different things to understand about oneself, right? And I often find that in conversation.
dude.
If you ask
Hang
people
on.
questions about themselves, which most people like, you'll discover that people will say, "Oh, I've never thought about that. Oh, I've never thought about that."
I bet it's an older one. I'm just kind of curious if I look in the transcript here.
Dude,
Maybe I'll just find it. What? I know it
It's just
sucks.
so
That's the point.
awful.
I know. That's the point. No Malcolm in here? Okay, maybe not. What about, oh, fuck. You know what? It's going to be on my old channel. I will record it. She may have taken it down. But, like, literally, this person made an entire video. This is how she started her channel. Talking about how she was in a superior category of human mind to Malcolm X. Just, Jesus Christ. Anyway, sorry.
I've been watching on and off for years now, who's built a loyal following, low-key not based on doing kayfabe.
I know you're a white liberal. Thank you, FD.
And I can't go
based
through
on
this
doing
analysis
kayfabe.
without
What
giving
the
credit to the
fuck,
fact
dude?
I don't know. I don't know.
What is not
That it was
doing
a
kayfabe?
I don't know. Also, for years, now I need to pull it up. Sorry, you're going to bear with me on this. Hang on.
Oh no, I'll just take my headphones off and cry.
Because I have a whole other channel with a bunch of stuff that's delisted. And I will undelist this. Because, oh my god. Oh my god. That's...
I will say, Peter Sloterdijk has a book called Bubbles that's quite good. Bubbles are being maligned in this, and I just want to be very clear.
This is from 2022. This is 4 years ago. I think it's this one. I remember when I used that soundtrack. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Here it is.
Aren't as woke as they think, because there's a step above that. But before we jump into 3, 4, and 5, we need to talk about the actual subcategories of level 2. Level 2 has subcategories, A, B, and C. So if you're functioning level 2, but you fall into the C category, you're usually people who do pretty good in life, but can't quite get where you need to go to feel completely comfortable every day in your own skin. But you're usually good people, or sometimes bad people, but you don't mean that. You're just kind of going with the script that was given to you. You're basically living in the Truman Show, but your existence is based off of where you're born. So it's not necessarily the Truman Show. It could just be...
Here he
What is
is.
she talking about? She's
not so kind, but they're people who really help society move forward and
what the hell is she talking about? She's
That's at level 2 right there, guys. to level 2 on her 5-scale program. There's Malcolm X as a level 2.
She's shown
So
like,
that's,
major cultural
I got to tell you though,
reach. She's
Yeah,
that's I expect that from FD.
I do too. What does that say? He's done with political content. He's now promoting de facto white nationalists who don't realize it, but that's par for the course.
A lot of the things that she had been saying for years that congealed into how I'm breaking this down in this video.
What a wonderful line for him to follow up that with.
So I just want to give credit there where it's due. My most recent video on
Always to white creators, by the way. Have you noticed this? He promotes constantly other white liberal creators. It's so weird. There are so many black creators on YouTube.
At Gengaros330 super chatted $5. Which would you choose? A week with the Smile Eldritch horror from the Smile 1 and 2 films, or watching nothing but FD for 10 years straight?
Oh, Smile easily.
On the main channel is titled, "This video is not about Candace Owens." And it's not. It's really not about Candace Owens. I even wear a shirt with her face on it that says clickbait. By the way, for those who don't know, this is my secondary channel, believe it or not. My bigger, more effortful stuff, i.e. longer, is on the main FD Signifier channel, and it's from
That's his more cowardly channel.
that channel that I've made myself significant in this space. Significant as a black.
You're not significant, sir. You are the low-level inoffensive hum that people put on in the background. You are not significant. You stand for nothing. You do nothing. You motivate people to nothing. You are nothing. You are
He's significant enough that there is 100% chance that he is going to see this.
Oh, 100.
That's how insignificant
100. He is so significant. He is going to see this, and he's going to seethe. But he has learned enough discipline not to comment. But we know from experience that he sees.
He will comment.
I think he's smarter than that now.
No, he'll comment and he'll do a factual version of a thing where he'll say, "Well, actually, Reddit style." That's
he does
gonna
promote black creators a lot, not as much as he promotes white creators who killed black people. Just saying.
Black men with political opinions that are further left than
Pardon me, brown people. Important distinction.
the norm, which has made people care about what I have to say. And ever since I've been somewhat relevant, I've had people asking me to do a video on Candace Owens, and I've never been interested in that because Owens to me is not worthy of seriously engaging with, on top of the fact that whenever you talk about black women and content online, it turns into a mess because people like
what? Oh, his favorite white content creator is Westside Tyler. He never fails to mention it. Who brags about lasering a bomb onto an Iraqi that his country was illegally invading. Yeah, he promotes killers. He promotes proud killers. Because what you need to understand about FD Signifier is that he is a deeply insecure, deeply terrified of how people think about a man. Terrified. Yes, he promotes killers. Almost to the exclusion of everybody else, actually. He is desperately insecure. So if somebody who brags about their time in an illegal war, killing Iraqis, arcs their back all seductive-like for him, he's all about that. He's the weak link in the chain. Because a whole lot of people get approached by people like this all the time because there's money in having large content creators be friendly with you. And he's the one who is insecure enough to bite. That's it. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people were like, what? You were silent on Palestine for years, and you're promoting a content creator because they suck up to you, who literally brags about they're killing people in Iraq. It was a good kill. I don't care if they genocide the Palestinians. Just do it fast so it's not costing us tax dollars.
Don't worry, he's probably gone on someone else's podcast once and said that a war was bad. So to be fair to him.
True. How true. Yes, indeed.
to shit on black women, and I don't.
Westside Tyler is literally evil, but he's necessary evil. He's the evil that marks out people like this. I've learned to be grateful for him because he's a litmus test for other human beings.
usually want to be a part of that. And I only semi broke that standard in the last video because I used Candace as a Trojan horse to talk about Palestine. But initially that video was going to have a lot more Candace Owens in it. But now,
Did you notice he's only talking about Palestine in 2026?
Mm.
How long has the war been going on for? War, quote unquote.
not me debunking her nonsense. Instead, I was going to use her unique existence within this world of
Oh yeah, Westside Tyler was pro Vosh until he realized he couldn't network with him. Yeah, no, we remember. We remember. These people don't remember. We remember.
Content to make a point that I've been thinking about a lot for years now, and I've talked about it in different ways, but finally I think I've congealed all my issues.
I might have heard FD go back a bit on Westside Tyler, but it was very soft. That's because once again he's a coward. He's being socially punished for it now, because now all of a sudden people are like, hey, wait a minute, you're going on about how other people are Nazis and so on and so forth. You're attacking people who are pro-Palestine apropos of nothing like the Tabernacle. And meanwhile, you've been silent on an act of genocide for years and years and years.
Peter's comment, I have to, because he's right.
Yeah.
Why do you need a Trojan horse to talk about Palestine? Only FD would say something like that. I wanted to, slip in some stuff without people noticing.
Yeah. I wanted to virtue signal to the minimum extent possible.
Jesus.
To
Didn't
get
occur to me when he's saying it.
to get
It's
bad
awful.
empanada people off my back, so I can continue being nice and kosher and acceptable to white liberals who really want to benefit from facilitating genocide in the Middle East. Like, you can see the grease from the slop on his fingers.
Political content, but more importantly, political content consumers into a critique that can be summarized in one phrase. A lot of y'all are marks.
We know that's your business.
Mark is another wrestling term, except derogatory. A mark is someone who thinks kayfabe is.
I don't think mark is a wrestling term. I think mark is a term in con artistry.
Shit. Yes.
Mark does not come from.
I hate this.
Does mark come? Hang on. Does mark come from wrestling? Maybe it does. I don't know.
It's used.
No,
it's
that's
used.
no.
But
The
it's used
term
derogatorily in the same way that people talk about anyone being a mark who's a little overtaken by the stupidity of things, or
it comes from carnivals. So like the you saw Welcome to Derry, right? There's that flashback scene in the circus where there's the kid wandering through the circus, and then the guy's like, "Step right up, you there, boy. Step right up." That's a mark.
Yeah,
that's a mark. It doesn't come from wrestling, you idiot. Where's he getting this from? It's
because nothing existed.
Oh,
prior to his own existence.
Shit! No. I looked it up on Google, and the AI brought up this modern meaning. It evolved into a widespread wrestling term for a fan who's deeply invested in the storylines or treats the scripted shows as absolute reality. Its point of reference is Quora, Reddit, Facebook, a 2016 YouTube video that says are we all wrestling marks? I think he
it's just an insult.
I think he
It's not even a.
I think he chat GPT'd this script. Or he paid someone to chat GPT this script. I think he chat GPT this script. Because he's saying it originated from this. I think he got it from chat GPT. Because here's the thing. That's a historical statement. Saying it came from this is a historical statement. If this was something that he had from knowledge, because he's an enthusiast in wrestling and he's looked into the history, that's not a mistake he would make. You wouldn't conflate people talking about it in present day, maybe this year, maybe as little as 10 years ago, as like, oh, well, now they talk about people in wrestling as marks, as the origin of the term. Unless it was being made by something that simply collated statements being made on Reddit. I don't think he wrote any. I don't think he writes any of this shit.
I also want to the thing that, and it's about a minute after this when I went, I'm fucking done here.
Yeah.
There's a very particular placement he's working on, and it's, again, how you can generally spot moralistic bullshit,
Yeah.
which is pretty much all of his videos. He's opened by talking about our intelligence, like he's talking about himself in the first person. I'm also a fan. I also suspend disbelief. Like we do this. Like he's put himself at the center of it, but then some are marks. Some go too far. And so it's, again, this temperature reading mentality of there are good versions of this and bad versions of this. You can't really say which one everyone is, but I'm here to let you know I'm not that one.
Anomnex says wrestling.
That's what he's
I know.
do.
Anomnex says wrestling also comes from carnivals. Cereal also comes from farms. Okay, the term Rice Krispies did not come from medieval agriculture. Jesus Christ, learn how etymology works, genealogy works. Like, I'm sorry, he watches wrestling, that's where he knows it from. Well, no, he doesn't know it from that, because that's from not that long ago, all the sources for this, and it doesn't originate there, which means this is a wrong historical statement. That's just wrong. Like, it's not the kind of statement I would make about anything that I have paid attention to for any length of time. It's the kind of...
And again,
yeah.
It's marks are people that you deceive for money immediately.
Yes.
This is, again, the usage of it in wrestling is something that I would probably argue is an online thing. It's wrestling forums and news groups maybe at the earliest, but again, kayfabe wasn't a term used in like the 70s for this. That wasn't words they used. They didn't talk about marks in that way. A mark is someone you're gonna fuck over, and so that language is used derogatorily for people who are too into it. This is not at carnivals. They didn't go, oh yes, we are about to go out and wrestle for the marks. What the fuck? No, that's not the word that they use. So it comes from carnivals, but it's not like there's a bunch of marks in our audience tonight. Like, that is not what
I know, I understand,
did.
but here's okay, yeah, I agree. But here's the thing though, and this is what's really frustrating me. It's one of the reasons I get angry when I cover stuff like this, is because people will volunteer themselves to defend bogus reasoning for money for nothing except their own egotistical or emotional attachment to the thing. And you disgrace yourself when you do that. So Anominic says both are correct. Wrestling, as we know, it evolved from carnivals in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Wrestling culture and carnival culture are so intertwined. Sure. Here's the problem, though. You're talking about origins. When you're talking about origins, you're talking about a sequence. And it's not sufficient to say, oh, two things are intertwined historically to justify a statement about the origins of something from one part of that twist to the other, right? One part of that, one string in that braid to another one. And unfortunately, what has happened is you've jumped in to defend someone bullshitting you because you found some kind of thematic resonance, possibly if you squint really hard and make everything fuzzy. Don't do that. You're teaching yourself not to think.
Real is someone who is not smart enough or aware enough to be in on the crafting of the fiction that is professional wrestling. It's someone who doesn't.
Most people use come from colloquially, not genealogically. What do you think colloquially means? And if it's colloquial, what is it colloquial for? Because it's going to be colloquial for genealogical. I.e., where in the past something comes from.
In fact, have to believe that Iron Sheik and Hacksaw Jim Duggan are mortal enemies in order to be invested in the show. A mark believes that what they're watching and consuming is real and often will feel insulted, maybe even resentful when shown the opposite, because it makes them feel like they've been tricked. In the world of
You're both wrong. The Gold Destroyer used the word mark. Did they use the word mark to mean that? Or did they use the word mark because they were conning people? Those mean that's different. That's different. Stop Googling stuff to try and justify the bullshit. It is exhausting.
wrestling, no one wants to be seen as a mark because marks are annoying and they kind of ruin everything. They take things too seriously, make people uncomfortable, and can be obnoxious as a performers as well. Cue up this classic moment that has been memed a million times in wrestling communities.
It's still real to me, damn it!
After around half a decade now of making political content on this platform, I've come to realize that a lot of consumers of political media, regardless of the political affiliation, are marks, and the worst kind of marks. They're marks that are convinced that them
Colloquialisms hitch off current popularity? No, come from refers to the genealogical. You are saying it comes from this prior thing. That's the colloquialism. I'm not saying colloquialisms are inherently genealogical. Good God. Are we serious? Were we all lobotomized this week? What the hell?
them being a mark is actually the correct way to operate.
They use the word to describe wrestling fans that believe wrestling is real. Is that because it comes from wrestling, or is it because they viewed those fans as a part of the category of person that extends beyond wrestling as marks because they could be conned? Learn how to think. Jesus Christ, compartmentalize.
In the space. Some of you are marks with no sense of self-awareness on what you're actually doing when you click play or leave a comment or share a video. Many of you are convinced that your favorite content creator is actually a revolutionary, or that their platform, whether it's a couple of 100,000 or a couple of million.
By the way, you've been watching Jordy, so you've seen Hassan Piker's Kim Jong-un outfit lately.
You mean the Mao outfit he wore to the thing?
Whatever.
I thought it was cool.
That was really?
Yeah, it's a cool outfit. What the fuck?
I thought it was okay. It's, I don't know. It's sort of giving like Trump showing up at a presidential address wearing a pirate outfit, but you know, whatever.
I mean, it worked. If that's the case, it worked for that.
Fair. Sunday, remember when Tyler told his audience he likes to trick people? I remember. His audience, of course, being very stupid, did not register that as important information.
Is some type of huge platform in the grand scheme of how political ideas and issues are developed. Or even worse, that your least favorite content creator is some type of CIA asset sponsored by insert government entity here to do.
I don't think you're a CIA asset. I think you volunteered yourself to be useful in that capacity, regardless of whether or not they contact you. It's actually wonderful for them.
Do evil stuff on YouTube to stop the revolution from happening, which is why you have to leave as many mean comments as you can in their on their videos.
I just can't. Like, this is one of those absurd things that shit content creators do, where they create like fake caricatures of somehow someone who believes the comment section is absolutely true revolution, and also can't distinguish creators or movements, and cares about rival YouTubers as like intelligence. Like, there's no one. This is people talk shit and they shit talk. But do you think there's people, aside from like obviously a handful of probably mentally ill, but the vast majority of people who even make the comment aren't like, yeah, he's a CIA plant. It's such an absurd caricature. There's no audience there. There's no person there. It's, hey, don't you hate these people that you occasionally see talking shit in this way? Let me give you a reason that they're even worse than you think.
Nathan says this is directed at Bad and Panada. No, that's incorrect. This is directed at Bad and Panada and a whole lot of other people who were pointing out that he was bullshitting about being pro-Palestinian the entire time. This is someone who went out of his way to tell people to shut up about black Democrats not being vocal about Palestine. I've covered this before. I have a video with that clip. This is the thing that has happened. He has gone out of his way to say in clips, yeah, no, I won't talk about this stuff because I want a seat at the table. It'll get punished in the algorithm. You wonder about those photos about people who are smiling outside of concentration camps? That's why, because people were able to make money and have friends and have a nice, fun existence provided they went along with the program. That's how it works.
I couldn't finish that one with a straight face. Some of you are convinced that your comments and shares are a form of praxis directly contributing to the political movement you claim to be a part of, and that would be bad enough in and of itself. But the worst part is that, unlike wrestling fans, most of you have shown a complete inability to reframe how you see things and actively resist being corrected.
FD Signifier is very, very angry that anybody on Earth holds him to account because he considers viewers or people who don't make $1 million off of YouTube to be lesser human beings, despite the fact that he can't think his way out of a paper bag. It's pathetic. It's genuinely pathetic. This entire thing, I am probably done with political content, is because he can't hack it. He's too mentally weak. He can't do it. He doesn't have the discipline, he doesn't have the knowledge base, and he doesn't have the will to learn. It's a spiritual failure. That's the reason for this. It's because someone like Bad Empanada, who, by the way, is very sloppy in all of the same ways, was able to point out, well, actually, you didn't talk about this until da-da-da-da-da-da, and you're going after all these other people for being slightly uncouth in how they talk about thousands and thousands and thousands of innocent people having their homes demolished over their heads and crushed by the falling cinder blocks. Because you want to make a little extra dough on YouTube. It's not even a matter of like a subsistence level. You're wealthy. So your excuse is you have disgusting consumer habits that you can't control, and that's more important to you than non-white people in other countries being massacred by yours. That's it. He has decided that he'd rather eat them like a hamburger. That's his existence. That's the kind of creature he is.
On your views. Unlike wrestling fans, you cannot be trusted to engage maturely with the media you're consuming, and you tend to reward figures that willfully misrepresent themselves as more than just entertainers. The truth about marks is that they want—
Nathan, call in or shut up. I don't suffer cowards in my chat. You're gonna call in or you're gonna whinge in the comments.
their fantasy to be real. They want to be tricked, and they hate the truth about—
Calling a black person a slave is not slightly uncouth. Was he talking about, in a particular context, talking about some influencer or some person, for example, simply following suit on something, like being a toady in that context? Because I gotta tell you, like, assiduously avoiding any of that language because you don't want to trigger people who are going to use that in a disingenuous way is actually kind of racist, to be frank with you. I think that's silly. And to be clear, I'm actually pretty sure that Bad Empanada was generically calling liberals slaves. I think he was calling liberals slaves for going along with their countries abetting a genocide, funding a genocide, arming a genocide. Like, I think he's wrong about FD use of the word mark. The term mark here isn't just generic internet slang. I didn't say mark isn't generic internet slang. Mark refers to a vulnerable target for a con. It's not internet slang, but it's also not from wrestling. It may have been deployed in wrestling. Seems like it was. That does not mean it comes from there.
No, it comes from carnivals where wrestling started, and at best, it's because wrestlers.
How do I call
wanted...
in? Ooh, we got a biter. I will post a Discord link in the chat. One moment. Brooks, be nice. We like people who call in.
I mean, it's Nathan. Nathan pops into mind, right? Nathan's.
Oh, is that Nathan? Okay, wait, I like people who call in. People who call in are better people. They got stones. I like stones. Okay, here you go. Join. BE used the term goy slave, if I remember correctly. Well, there you go. That's not even the same kind of thing. That's stretching. That's stretching so much. Did you know Brooks said the word boy earlier? Did you catch that? Shit. Like, that's the kind of attitude. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, did you say the word ships? Like, it's ridiculous. Don't do that. That's pathetic. I was making a point about, like, grasping.
My audio went out for a second. Sorry.
I was making a point about the grasping about the slave comment. That was not making a commentary on the person's ethnicity. That was talking about a relation of dominance politically. And it was like, oh, well, the person you used that word with happened to be black. It's like, fuck off. Genuinely.
I have done a reading of Nietzsche, and I am ashamed for my black brothers who are angry that I keep using the word slave morality.
I mean, he was talking about Jews. But anyways. Okay.
But, again, no, you know what? None of this matters. Like now, I like I'm still just I like the whole thing. Like we can be really pedantic, which it's you and me, of course we are. But this bullshit thing he's doing is the structure of, speaking of Nietzsche, the priestly morality. Oh, I'm going to diagnose the hidden sickness of everybody. You suffer, and I'm going to tell you why. You are actually the cause of the suffering. You people, not me. I could never be such a thing. It's hilariously, like, on the surface, the shitty thing that is, and again, as you're saying, people are into this. It's a whole thing. But, like, the idea of what he's doing is so gross by building this foundation of this type of person who doesn't exist like functionally as a thing, but we're actually going to still dive in, and when we're still going to talk about it, I'm going to tell you about their internal workings and who they truly are. And it's like, Jesus Christ, dude.
So why are they have they joined the Discord? Because I put the link in the chat. Inominux, I put the Discord link in the chat. I'll pin it for you, okay? There you go.
What they're really doing, because secretly they low-key hate themselves. It's a sad reality of the genre that seems impossible to fix, and surprisingly, one of the first people to call this out was Candace Owens herself. One thing I hated to cut from the video was from this lesser discussed TED Talk that Candace Owens did before she became who she is today, when she was still a liberal or cosplaying as a liberal or whatever you want to make out of whoever Candace Owens was before she became who she is. This TED Talk is mostly about her experience of being bullied and harassed, something that she suffered at the hands of white students in her high school that got so bad that the NAACP got involved.
They told me things like they were going to tar and feather my family, that they were going to put a bullet in the back of my head as they had done to Martin Luther King. They told me in so many words that I better not be home.
For those who do not know, Owens grew up relatively poor, but also in an all-white area, so she had that fly in the milk experience that I talked about in other content. I'll leave the video where I talked about that, but just understand that although I empathize with why some black parents do this to their children, this is categorically a harmful thing for black children, and despite what some might think, I empathize deeply with black kids who have had to deal with this experience because it can be traumatic. However, more significantly for the moment, this type of fly in the
What the frick just happened?
There you go. Oh, he's censoring himself using a series of slurs.
Had to deal with this experience because it can be traumatic. However, more significantly for the moment, this type of fly in the activity.
What?
That's slurs, my friend.
But what's I don't get it.
You know what? You shouldn't even say the animal that's on screen.
This type of fly in the activity that Owens would eventually
What a fucking coward.
become known
Big
for.
old coward.
What a fucking coward. By the way, I love the fact that he made this big like Charlie Kirk video months after he died, when everybody else had been mowed for being a little too uncouth about Charlie Kirk. He waits till everybody else gets chopped down, and then he makes it. It's so cowardly. It's so cowardly. There's a kind of person though who watches like, oh my god, look, he put the thing. He did the thing. It's like, oh, it's like
so based, calling Candace Owens a slur. He's just as cool. You know, those comments that he just showed that was her being bullied? Like, that's the same energy, and it's so good that people were saying the N-word to her, but he, like, it's totally different, and he's cool for doing it now. Right?
I mean, Google's fine with it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the thing. It's like Google's fine with you. That kind of tells you a lot. The giant corporations that are sending tremendous amounts of money to right-wing white nationalists, they're fine with you. Think about that. Think about that for a second.
In this talk, Owen speaks on how the anxiety that she suffered after this ordeal led her to depression and anorexia, but not specifically the racial harassment, the aftermath of it, the depersonalization and attention. And what she learned from this experience might be the one time that Owen said something that I genuinely agree with. Owens learned early, well before the social media political economy existed, that most of how people interact through media, especially social media, is kayfabe. This TED Talk was not long after she had wrote the Donald Trump has a small penis article, and not too long before she became the biggest face in the MAGA movement. It's the same as when a baby face or a good guy wrestler subtly turns heel or into a bad guy, except again, unlike in wrestling, the audience thinks that this is all real and that it should be taken seriously. And some of you might be saying,
well, that only works in the right, FD.
And those of you who saying that were probably dick riders for Graham Plattner just a few weeks ago. And
Hey, where were you on Graham Plattner before you got called out? Before everyone else already talked about it? Where were you? The only reason why he started talking about Graham Plattner was because he got called out for being silent on Palestine. That was it. In like the last little bit. All of this is made up. It's so weird. Anominix, well, it says I have to be a member for at least 10 minutes in order to call. Did you join? What's your username? We'll skip that. Are you Notch Thexan?
Don't have to point out how many.
I used to be right wing.
Oh wait, I need to share my screen again. 1 sec. Bloop, 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 bloop.
All right, I'm gonna mute myself for a minute while you chat with new person.
Well, they're not here yet.
Oh, okay.
Creators are in this space at this moment, but there's plenty. So clearly this is not purely a right-wing thing. When I analyze what Owen says here, she seems to understand early on that all of this is kayfabe. It's just that most of the people involved, both the creators and definitely the consumers, don't realize it. They didn't realize they were participating in an agreed upon fiction, and thus they act.
You first talked about him on a live stream a few months ago and admits he doesn't follow electoral politics closely. Well, he's not allowed to not follow electoral politics closely. He told people to shut up about black Democrats not being outspoken about Palestine. What are you, his publicist? Shut up.
Way more severely and intensely than they would if they were standing face to face.
I would say spending a lot of time, as this would be, a lot of time not saying anything and hedging bets is literally what my video about this was. Like, I just don't do a lot on electoral politics, but I will, after the fact, absolutely condemn anyone who was talking about it and involved, because taking a stance in any sort should be punished in retrospect. And we should be angry with people constantly.
Livelihoods to put an end to institutions like segregation. Activism meant maybe being arrested. Activism meant maybe being killed. So they had to care deeply beyond the concept of a trending hashtag to voice their outrage. But say we have the internet, and the internet is fast, and the internet is amazing, but doesn't exactly require a physical presence. And
editor, cut all of that out, okay?
It therefore allows us a level of detachment.
And what I think Owens realizes after this moment, or what she was probably developing that explains where she went later in life, is that a lot of you want to be Marx. They want to replicate the actual feeling and energy of doing something, but in the safe, low stakes environment of social media. And that all she'd have to do was keep telling good stories and people will reward her for that. And if you look at Owens's career, that's what she's done. Conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory, George Floyd.
George Floyd was not an amazing person. First and foremost, George Floyd at the time of his arrest was high on fentanyl and he was high on methamphetamine.
The president's wife in France.
And today I have been sued by the first lady man of France. So let's just go, guys. Let's just go.
Now whatever's going on with Charlie Kirk.
It is an absolute fact that Charlie Kirk thought that he was a time traveler. He
fused with random people, Kanye West, MAGA, not MAGA now, and of course Israel. Most of it just comes down to her knowing that if she says something with enough intensity and sincerity, there are people out there who want to cling to her every word.
Yep, fucker. Look at him sneaking that line and want to cling, because they're like, oh, she's intense. That's something I want. I am now deciding. And that's not how it works. He's literally like debunking himself with this example. That his belief has zero effect on it. There's no effect.
And the important part to understand is it doesn't matter how wrong she is, how false what she's saying is, and how many times I or anyone else debunks her talking points, just like it doesn't matter that Triple H loses the night of WrestleMania or loses any amount of matches. He will have the belt back by SummerSlam so they can start the cycle all over again.
Oh, so you see,
Except there's
everybody use
this.
What is it with your server and your culture of just like, oh, well, we interrupted slightly, I'll just keep talking, it'll just all work out. Interruptimus over here. It's like, it's like, I swear to God, like, fuck, it's like, look, guys, all of these smaller creators and nobodies and people who are like, hey, that's kind of weird that you're like going after these people who are pro-Palestine when you've been silent about a genocide for this long, but you're going to clutch your pearls because you found some language that you can stretch like Michael Jordan in Space Jam to maybe possibly sound like something a racist would say in a different context. It's so pathetic, like, and it's so transparent because he's not, Candace Owens is not acknowledging his existence. Thank you, Gingaros. Candace Owens is not acknowledging his existence. He's not being acknowledged by bigger figures. This is about smaller people, and he doesn't like the idea of other human beings holding him to account for anything. He just wants to make money and then sit down and eat chips.
I think you absolutely nailed it, because if you're going to say that the incredibly dangerous and actually quite effective rhetoric of Candace Owens is no different than watching WrestleMania, fuck your entire political project at that point.
Hey,
like,
Anominix, how you doing?
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
Hey, I don't know.
Hello.
Do I have to pause the YouTube video, or
It might be a good idea if you want to hear an echo. I got to pee really badly. Can you hold that?
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll hold on.
I'll be right back. Brooks, entertain.
It's the first time I've ever called in, so sorry. I made you wait.
I'm good.
But I guess
I don't know.
I guess I gotta wait now. That's my punishment.
Yeah, I don't know what you're here for, so I'm probably not the person. I'm more just at this point like the idea that kayfabe is being used, and you're not stretching it out and saying, "Oh, here's how it works in politics," but saying that fundamentally the stakes are the same for Candace Owens as for WrestleMania is fucking insane to me. Like, just as a statement.
I think that's I think that's insane too. I think FD Signifier is a bit of a hack. I'm just calling in because I like this channel. I've been listening.
Is it the Marks thing? You're here about the Marks thing, right?
I'm in the Marks thing. Yeah.
So here's the thing: the use of marks by wrestlers, you can trace back, sure, but it's being used in the space of the carnival. It'd be like saying that it's traced back to the tilt-a-whirl. No, it's traced back to carnival culture where everyone had to basically get paid for what they were doing, so they were always looking for marks. I actually really fantastic book that I've been reading, Markets in the Making, Kellon's book on how it wasn't carnival barkers, but specifically salespeople, and how the bazaar and the sales culture of having the guy out front who's like, hey, you look like a very smart man. That thing that they had to do inside of a carnival, people didn't pay like $20 to go in. They went in and then they paid $1 here, $1, like obviously cheaper than that depending on the era, but they'd pay per thing. So people were marks. And so if anyone is using that, it's not being used in terms of, oh, that's a wrestling fan or someone who willingly overbelieves that wrestling is real. That's not at all the derivation of it in any meaningful sense.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? I'm sorry it took me a while to call in. It's first time calling in on anything ever.
You're all good. You got a wonderful voice. You want to introduce yourself to the... I can't speak. Oh my God. Would you like to introduce yourself to the chat?
Yeah. And I'm an Ox. I'm new to YouTube and new to this channel.
Cool.
So I was calling about the mark thing because it was funny. It was funny having you yell at me and tell me I need to read a book.
That's how it works.
So I get what you're saying, that there's this etymology, right, that predates wrestling, and that the word mark had been around in early carnival culture or whatnot. But I'm calling because the popularization of the word. There's just because a word itself can be traced back to, you can take etymology and trace it back 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years. Doesn't mean that there's not a semantic narrowing over time, right? And
I don't think it's semantically narrowed to wrestling. I think it has
not at all.
I think it has predominantly been for people who are vulnerable to being conned, and then it was extended to wrestling. The reason why it matters that he's saying it's from wrestling is because that's an historically inaccurate statement by itself. And it's one of those things. Yeah, and it's one of those.
I think that's probably true. I think
But
you're probably right about that.
But it's not just historically inaccurate. It's kind of inconceivable that you would think it comes from wrestling unless you were getting it from the source that I got it from.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right to say that it doesn't come from wrestling, right? But you could say that about a lot of words and a lot of terms, right? Like that the original meaning itself may not come from wrestling, but the wrestling and carnival culture are so intertwined. It's like an incestuous relationship between the two, right? And it's really hard to separate those out. And whereas carnival culture, we could argue, no longer exists, wrestling culture does, right? And so you have terms
but scamming people as a thing, which is where it was used, the term mark in carnival culture, is way outside. The show Better Call Saul used the term mark constantly. Most shows that talk about that. So who's the mark tonight? Who we're going after? Prank shows, they use the term mark because they're the person they're going after. It's the idea that it's even like as wrestling an origin or primary use instead of sort of a weird online insult for terminally online people in specific ways. I would need a lot more understanding.
Well, you know what? I would liken it in terms of this intertwined point. Like, sure, absolutely. But the problem is that doesn't actually get to where you need to go to make your case. So, for example, liberalism and leftism, massively intertwined. The original leftists were liberals. Are leftists liberals? Does the word leftist refer to liberals? Does the word liberal refer to leftists? What is a reactionary? Is it an anti-liberal or an anti-leftist?
No, but you're helping me with my point now by making that, by showing that the word liberal and leftist change over time because of the different semantic communities.
Oh, yes, but here's the point, though.
Communities that are using them, right?
True. That's true. However, it changing over time is a historical fact. You can get it wrong. And so the fact, for example, that the word mark has been deployed in wrestling over time does not mean that it is the most common use of that word to be in wrestling, or that it's from there. That would just be a factually incorrect statement. And you might think the stakes are low in this case because it's like, who the fuck cares where the word mark came from? It's not going to affect any of our lives. The problem is that what's happening is that people are being entrained to use this kind of intellectual laziness with respect to everything.
Yeah, I think that's probably. I think a lot of things that you're saying are true, and there's a lot of words that will come out of the carnival that then get popularized by wrestling, right? So we talked about kayfabe earlier in the stream, right? Like that's not. Sure. I was the idea of kayfabe may have been kind of cauterized in the late 70s and early 80s, but carnivals had been.
Hey, can I'd like to clarify something for a second, okay? I don't hate FD Signifier as a human.
No,
being.
Me either.
Okay,
but I disagree with a lot of what he says.
Sure, I do. But to be clear, like there are people on this platform that need to go away who are actually just botched. I don't think that's the case with that. I don't think that's the case. Calm down. No, Philosophy Tube is not one of those. Philosophy Tube sucks, but she's not that bad. As a human being, she's not that bad. No, these are people who are cowardly and self-interested. You can live with cowardly and self-interested people. These are not people who are fundamentally violent in their nature, right?
Yeah, and I guess the reason I called is that, like, I don't hate him either, but I'm also not standing for him, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I do think that if you are going to criticize somebody like FD Signifier, who has a pretty big audience, I mean, it's an audience of people who probably are not thinking too critically.
I respectfully disagree. See, here's the thing: someone like FD Signifier does have a lot of viewers.
Yeah.
When you say audience, I think of something a bit more particular. So
I'm just thinking about all the grad students I sat in grad school with.
I'm thinking about people who listen to him and take something away. And I think the number of people who listen to him and take something away is exceedingly small for two reasons. Yes. The first is that I don't think anybody listens to him. And the second thing is I don't think there's anything to take away. So when I look at FD Signifier's popularity, I see the rug cleaning channel.
You said something earlier
yeah.
earlier in the chat that I totally agreed with, which is a lot of people, and especially a lot of white liberals, listen to him specifically because it sort of helps to assuage their guilt or some sort of
I think it makes them feel sophisticated, like they are partaking. You know the Captain America show?
No.
Okay.
I don't watch much TV.
Okay, well in the Captain America in the the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, which is terrible by the way. They bring back it's called Zeno, I think. This like mastermind guy. His first scene is him reading Machiavelli, because only smart people read Machiavelli in prison for the first time. I find that so funny how it's like I love how in the show The Boys they show the smartest woman on earth, and what's she reading? Entry level philosophy textbook.
Yeah.
Like you just got there, okay? Smart.
Allegory of the Cave.
No, it's because it's Eric Kripke's cousin, I think, who wrote that Saul Kripke. But it's embarrassing. But like there's a conversation that's been memeified tremendously, where Zeno starts. It's not Zeno, it's Zemo, right? I think it's Zemo starts explaining like. Some black musician to the Winter Soldier talking over the Falcon who's a black guy, and he's like, well, he's out of line, but he's right. They want to be that guy. Like that's not. It's not about assuaging white guilt. It's about there's a kind of social cachet that people try to gain by being conversant with stuff they don't actually respect the way they respect other material.
It's also stuff they don't think about, right?
Like, well, that'd be why.
It's the ability to just watch the thing and then later go and talk to your friend group or leave a chat online and just echo what you heard the day before on some video because it sounded smart and it came from a guy named FD Signifier, right? Mm-hmm. It's one of the things that I admire most about your channel is that you have a lot of kind of different and controversial. Not always. I don't always agree with what you say, and sometimes I think you're wrong flat out. But I do like the way that your mind works. That I don't hear you sort of parroting what other people say, and I think that's more important, right? Like I think the people that need to go away on YouTube are the people that are just saying the same shit over and over and over again, right? And but I like that you're criticizing FD Signifier. I think that the reason I was being a little pushy in the chat is I just think you were picking at the wrong scab, right? Who cares? Who gives a fuck whether he used the word? I don't know if I can say that. Sorry, but who gives a crap about whether he uses the word mark, right? When 90,
I don't care about him using the word mark.
Yeah.
What I do care about is someone making a historical statement and in training his audience to not care when they are being fed wrong information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure it was wrong information, but
I wouldn't even say that. I would even go a step further. He's building through all of this a foundation and a lattice of meaning that he is then going to be making claims that again he hasn't earned in any way, that are fundamentally self-contradictory. And every step of this that he's using to link thing to thing not only doesn't exist, is phantom at best. But when he finally gets to that final point, it's literally standing on nothing. And that's, to me, the point of like critical watching, critical reading, anything, is watching when these things come together, because the lattice of every single point, how he reacts and uses the word mark, he's linking it to that's not no. Like
he's also stealing a lot of his content, by the way, in case you didn't know. There's a book by Ian Douglas. It's called a decisive novelty or decided novelty or something like that. It's a nonfiction. I read a lot of books on it's a stupid hobby, but I read a lot of nonfiction books on the history of carnival and professional wrestling, and it's a book by Ian Douglas that speaks specifically about black wrestlers. It's a guide to black wrestling, and he's almost a lot of his arguments are almost taken word for word. The only thing that he's doing differently,
no shock.
The only thing that he's doing differently is he's taking those arguments and then applying them to people like to modern day politics.
Well, this is why again, it's one of those. This is why I'm very suspicious of people relying on AI for their scripts when they have that uncanny combination of depth and ignorance, where you would encounter all of the points that would inform you in the course of getting the fine-grained pieces of information that you are structuring your essay around.
Yeah, there was an article that was in the New York Times, I believe, about 2 or 3 years ago that was like, I think the title of the article was like, "Is Everything Wrestling Now?" And so I feel like what he did was he took this book. If he had used AI, then AI took that book and kind of matched it together with that New York Times article, and he's just like, and it's spouting out some weird mishmash of the two that you know, he may every now and again a good point will come up, but 95% of what he's saying is like the stakes are so different. I think the problem is a matter of stakes, right? And who's your buddy on this channel? Who I was talking to when you went to pee? What's his name?
Oh, Brooks, you're still here.
Yeah, Brooks. Hello. Yeah, so Brooks made a really good point.
Your buddy.
Yeah. Brooks made a really good point when you were out of the room, and he said, like, look, I don't want to say I don't remember exactly what it was, but the problem that he had made is like the stakes between WrestleMania, or the stakes between what's happening in the ring versus the kayfabe, if that's what you want to call it, that's happening in modern day politics, are so vastly different that it's almost comical it's almost insulting to combine the two. Right, because it's making you focus in the wrong spot. Right?
Well, and this would be my argument, and it's the thing I hate that he's doing, where he's trying to psychoanalyze and like go into the back of the head of Candace and all these people. Here's what people really believe and do. Like, he's doing his thing. He is he is producing as he produces. And what he's producing is himself. Trust people when they tell you who they are. And what he's producing is content that says what he's doing is as useful ever as WrestleMania. And that's how he views it.
Yeah,
and it's,
which is silly.
I think it just says a lot about his content.
Yeah, it just shows a lot that he's full of himself. He's as full of himself as the wrestlers that he's criticizing. As full as himself. Look, I don't want to completely derail your stream, because I know there are people that want to talk about other things, but I do want to mention, I know you read a lot, and I'm going to make a recommendation for you, because it's only about 5 pages, and I think you could get through it and you'd like it. It's Roland Barthes. He's a rhetorician. He's the guy that. Yeah, the Death of the Author guy. He wrote a really fantastic essay on professional wrestling, I think in the 1950s.
Is that in Mythologies? I think it's in there.
It is in Mythologies.
It's in Mythologies, yeah.
It is in Mythologies.
I think it's the first one.
It is.
It's somewhere in there. It's really great.
It's a phenomenal piece.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and I think it's if you're ever interested in learning a little bit more, getting a little bit more into the rhetoric of wrestling, I'd recommend it to your audience. But
maybe we'll.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling me. No problem, man. I'll continue to listen, and I'll throw you some money whenever I can.
Oh, you better. Thank you. Hey, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for insulting me. It was fun.
You're welcome. Take it easy.
All right, bye.
See, I'm nice when they come on.
Well, I mean, that was actually quite a good call.
That was a pretty good call, actually. Some of them do suck. That one didn't.
I was very ready for the worst, and that you left me immediately. I'm like, dude, seriously. Entertain Brooks and deal with the fucking possible troll. That would have been fun. Hey, it turned out he was quite lovely, but it could have been really just the worst.
I had to go really badly. I was in there for like 15 seconds.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
She herself calls out that her parents and grandparents had to meet their enemies in the street in order to take action for the purposes they were out in the streets for. She recognizes that her bullies, these rich white boys who threatened her over the phone, probably wouldn't have done that to her face, because there would not have just probably been immediate consequences, but as she puts it, they'd have been grounded in their humanity in that moment. And it'd have been hard to tell a person as you're looking them in the eye that you're going to kill them. But via a medium that obfuscates humanity, like a phone, or more effectively a screen, all of that goes away and people indulge in that escape. They indulge in kayfabe, and that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It probably wouldn't be bad at all if so.
Jesus Christ. So kayfabe is just Fantasyland now. It's just whatever private individuals do to get escape. Okay.
Yeah.
Many of y'all.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
It's mediated disinhibition. Like, it's who cares? Like, this is now just like, who gives a fuck about anything?
Well, because he doesn't have any of these concepts in his head, so he's just kind of riffing on it as he goes. So he's lost it. Ugh.
marks. Some of y'all are mad that I still haven't made a real video debunking or addressing Candace Owens. You're a bit salted that the video really wasn't about Candace Owens.
Who? What?
Because you said it was like, this is one of the, he opens the video talking about this. He's like, I put her in the thumbnail. I said, it's not about Candace Owens. I put her name on it. I wore a t-shirt. And it's like, yeah, dude, you literally did all of the signifying to say, I'm going to be doing something to Candace Owens. And then apparently, I didn't watch it, but he's like, I didn't even barely mention her. Ho, ho, ho. And it's like, dude,
leave it to
are you
FD
fucking kidding me?
Signifier to not know what a signifier is.
Yeah, no shit.
Why? Going back to that now infamous talk I did with Dr. Ball and some of my peers, the topic of not talking about Candace Owens came up, and we as peers...
That talk is infamous, by the way, because he was calling out people like Tabernacle for being a Nazi. It's like, holy fuck.
Just had a civil
Did
disagreement
he go harder
that
on
was
Tabernacle than Candace Owens in that?
He went hard on Tabernacle.
Because like, I'm not a big fan of Tabernacle, but
like he didn't repeat
like,
he didn't repeat on Tabernacle, but he went hard on Tabernacle. And like the thing of it is too is like, FD Signifier may not have an attentive audience to his words, but they are attentive to people he disparages. And that could have like been a shitstorm for Tabernacle, depending on how he responded to it. Completely unjustified. And I'm not a massive Tabernacle fan, but like that was gross and pathetic. And the entire conversation, he wasn't just doing that with Tabernacle. He was like weirdly disparaging because he had that other deculturation moron who's just making shit up and pretending to be historically literate guy in the call who is like, oh yeah, the Irish they've folded and they're complicit now with global white nationalist imperialism. It's like the Irish were the first colonized people in British history. They were the experiment.
I've told my Irish friends, a couple who are pretty political, and they were fucking hilarious. They thought it was the funniest fucking thing. They thought it was lying. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, are you kidding me? It's like, yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. He's got a good handle on it.
He pretty much directly said his criticism was primarily directed at B. It doesn't matter. Good God.
It really doesn't
matter. Like imagine I go on a big rant.
He's racially essentializing people, but it's only directed at him. Jesus.
It's like it's like imagine you go on this big homophobic tirade and at the end you go, no offense though. like really?
No, that's what it says. Line from Dumb and Dumber. Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Weird.
No,
by the way, weird, very weird attitude about gay men. Just by the by, this dude.
Who?
FD
Really?
Signifier. Hey, you remember that thing we covered a little while ago?
I don't.
He was like, he was making all these weird. I forget the exact video, but he was making all these like weird insinuations about like femininity or whatnot. It was so weird. I want to dig it up at some point. Somebody in the chat maybe remembers it. It was not too long ago, but it was so weird.
That'd be weird. I mean, a lot of people in the Black Liberation Movement have a really good history of really good queer standings and understandings.
I really would not consider FD Signifier to be a part of that.
That was just a lot of sarcasm.
Yeah, that's too many layers. Too many layers.
2 minutes short. Okay, fair.
Too hard to follow.
But there are people in the chat, in the comment section, that were furious. They were big mad that I and others were not interested in kayfabe addressing Candace Owens.
That's not kayfabe. You lied to them about the content of the video and then were ironic about it as if that made up for it.
Owens for the show. Folks were calling me a coward and insinuating that I wasn't doing my job. One said, and I quote, I'm okay to ignore them, but ignoring them doesn't make them go away. And the video essay does?
Yeah, we know you're useless. Thank you, FD Signifier. You could at least educate people, though, but that's asking too much, apparently.
I would actually say, this is again, real basic idea here. I'm not saying one video would make her go away. I don't think anyone thinks that.
No.
But when you have the views he does, and this is why, like, the number of videos he's done saying, what I do has no point, and yet at the same time, like, shitting on people for having stances on things in videos. Because if what he does doesn't matter, then what Candace Owens does doesn't matter, which would be weird because I think we could very easily argue a lot of different things, but the podcast world made Trump. The online world put Trump in power. Bannon talks about this. Like, we know that the online world has some level of push. If you have this audience and you're not doing something with it,
except reminding people Candace Owens exists and directing people to her channel
and saying racial slurs about her. Because if you want to talk about kayfabe, that would be it. You're calling her racial slurs and empowering the like heel mentality, like in real time right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's doing kayfabe more than anyone, and it's embarrassing that he thinks it's everyone else. Jesus. God, this is awful, dude. I hate this video.
Damn it! Do y'all know how many Candace Owens is bad and here's why videos there are out there? Literally thousands, probably hundreds of thousands at this point.
You know how many Charlie Kirk is bad videos there are out there? There were lots by the time you made yours, when everybody else had already been cut down because you waited till it was safe because you're a coward. He waited months afterwards. He waited months after Charlie Kirk was dead to make a big video essay about how, guys, I don't think Charlie Kirk was a nice guy. Charlie Kirk was kind of a bad guy. Did you know that? Yeah, big, bold statement. Months after everybody else got fired for it. Please join my Patreon. YouTube didn't think it was ad-friendly to show an animation of Charlie Kirk as he was getting shot, having his neck unzip in the opening screen. Never saw it coming. Like, it's ridiculous.
Point. What has that done to make her go away? Only a mark believes that that's what's happening when I or someone else makes the anti-Candace Owens video. In reality, the opposite is true. Especially me, a person with a relatively large platform, speaks on Candace Owens. All I'm doing is pouring more fuel on the fire that...
But you're doing that now anyways.
Yeah, but so you're doing that. What the fuck, dude? Sorry,
no.
Go ahead, Sunday.
Who is forcing you to make this video? Who's twisting your arm? What?
The idea then is, I can talk about her and it helps her, but if I talk about her but do it negatively, that also helps her. But I'm not going to talk negatively about her. I'm going to be pretty much middle of the road,
except for the slurs I call her.
Yeah, because I'm a good leftist who cares about emancipation of humanity. Good work, shithead.
That is her reach on this algorithm. There's a reason why I use her face, not just in that video, but a couple of videos over the course of my career, because I know it's algorithmically powerful because people want to talk about her. And the more you talk...
Yeah, we know you're a scam artist. Thank you, FD.
About her, it's like Voldemort or Candyman. Hold on, how many Candymans am I supposed to say?
What?
I forgot how many
I don't understand that reference. Am I missing something?
It's a horror movie called Candyman that was quite good. They did a decent remake of and like sort of extended it out. Very fun movie.
Oh, is that the one with that basically
Dude with a hook?
Is that one where the one with the clip on Instagram where it's basically like Black Pennywise? But it's like a minstrel character. Am I thinking of something else?
That is not that. No, I know the
you know what I'm talking about?
That's also goddamn. What is the name of that?
It was really well acted.
No.
Yeah.
Candyman is an 80s slasher horror thing where like you get pulled into the dream world, like kind of thing.
Tony Todd, is that the other?
Candyman comes into our world, that kind of thing. It's great.
Shai Halud says Tony Todd. Is that the no?
Don't think so.
Okay.
I'll look.
Candyman it was. Hold on one second. How many times? It's 5 times. I'm safe. Everything's cool. That's why I try a lot, as much as I can, even though like often these videos don't perform very well, to pull back the curtain on all of this to show I'm not in the Matrix, y'all. It's a green screen. fucking tired of some of y'all. I'm trying to bring you all in.
No one on Earth has ever thought he's in the Matrix. This is what I mean. The kayfabe he is doing, he's actually doing it, pretending that there are these people and these other things, and that there's these enemies and these other things. Like, he's building all of these things in a space of almost entire fantasy. That there's no one who's like he's like, oh, I'm just insulting them, and it's like, dude, seriously, this is just beyond lame.
Do you all understand that not making the Candace video is actually costing me money? I'm not afraid of making a video about
No, it's not. That's a really dumb thing to say.
this woman. It's not
First
like
of all, because you are making the Candace video, and it's not costing you money. What? What?
How many views does the Candace video have?
Like a
one
million?
that- Yep, good job, buddy.
Also, like, he's said weird stuff, like, oh, this video cost me like thousands and thousands of dollars to make, and it's just guy in front of, yeah, I know, it's like guy in front of webcam. It's just like, it really screams like hiding, like hiding taxable income in productions. Like, it's really weird. He's said stuff like that before, like, oh, I have a video that cost me like a massive amount of money to make, but it's just like him in front of a screen talking, and it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Although, just to be clear, if the Matrix was real, right, this is exactly the play he would make, and he would try to make the background as unconvincing as possible, so that you are convinced it is not actually the Matrix when it is. So he is actually there. Just to be clear, like that's I'm not enthusiastic enough to continue.
Is he ever mad about any? Is he ever mad about anything that isn't? Hey, my audience is mad at me for not saying that things are bad that they care about. That seems to be like all of his content that I've seen.
Yeah, he's basically Brittany Venti.
Well, that works out.
some nefarious threat. There's not any amount of people that she could talk about on her platform or that can come to my comment sections.
He says he has a team of at least 5 editors, apparently. So he just shows up and reads someone else's shit, doesn't he?
How bad of it? But 5 editors? How bad is he at takes?
I mean, have you listened to
what
him?
is he delivering?
I mean,
he's got a teleprompter.
He is not good at speaking.
No, but
so
5 editors worth of bad?
I mean, I don't think that I don't think the 5 editors are to make up for that. I think the 5 editors are he's just really lazy and he doesn't want to do any work. So he and I'm calling them editors is probably being a little loose, because I don't think he has 5 editors that are responsible for this. I think he probably has a thumbnail guy. I think he probably has a video editor guy. I think he probably has a video editor guy for the side channel. That accounts for 3. A thumbnail guy for the side channel. That accounts for 4. And then my guess is he probably has somebody ghostwriting. But
fire them.
That's going to change the amount of money that will pop up in my Google AdSense check based on the video. In fact, if she were to respond to my video, it'd be the best thing that ever happened in my career. Don't be a fucking mark.
It's still real to me, damn it.
don't be a mark here. I would lose money making a Candace Owens video, as he says in his Candace Owens video.
Speaking of being marks, the same
views,
thing
but he did not lose money on. Jesus Christ.
goes for videos on Israel or Palestine. As I said in other content and in that video, videos on Israel and Palestine, which is what that video, what my video on Candace Owens really was, do numbers. That
No, what? Videos on... Oh, see, you need to understand, guys, okay? He wasn't talking about Israel-Palestine as an act of martyrdom. Okay, he didn't want to make money off of Israel-Palestine. That's why he was quiet about it for 3 years. That's why he was calling Tabernacle a Nazi. Okay, he didn't want to make money dishonorably off of Palestine, which is why he was only willing to talk about it to maintain its sacredness inside of Candace Owens' video as a vehicle for it. He definitely wasn't only covering Palestine reluctantly because he was being called out for his silence and complicity on liberal support for genocide, and couched it in a Candace Owens video so that maybe YouTube wouldn't notice and then punish him algorithmically for it, because he's all about money. Definitely not. No. God, no. FD Finkelstein over here.
video, again, 1 million views in less than a week. That's not...
You know what the best part about it is, though? Nobody wants him to talk about Palestine. He just needs to shut the fuck up and stop calling other people who are pro-Palestine Nazis so he can fit in with white people.
At SmithBlack5945 super chatted $10. You guys don't get it. FD's channel is a real-life semiotic experiment to see how much you can signify profundity with anemic signifiers.
Huh.
Drama.
Ah, yes, our first catch of the day. Drama. This is indeed how it works. We are now at $10 for drama. Reminder, chat. If we get to $100 with the word... Sorry. When you put a super chat, when you send a super chat, dear God. Let me start again. When you send a super chat, put either words drama or theory into your super chat. If we get to $100 for theory, we skip to a theory segment of at minimum 1 hour, typically 1.5 to 2 hours. If, however, you would like the regular content to continue, put the word drama into your super chat. If we get to $100 in drama, the theory value goes down by 50%. If you donate $100 in one super chat, you get to pick the next segment, whatever it is, so long as I keep my clothes on. Anyways.
Not easy to do, even for me. And it doesn't take much searching on YouTube to recognize
it's easier for you than for everybody else. You are the one person on this platform who has no excuse. None. You could make the pro-Palestine video, lose all income from it, and still be rich afterwards. Fuck you. You are not allowed. You're not allowed to float, well, I'd lose money off of it. Yeah, okay. Can you
my stoic video that I ended the series with got demonetized? That's just how it works.
I have videos demonetized all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's what a fucking.
But see, he's smarter, right? He's better than us because he's willing to be complicit with the massacre of children, provided he doesn't have to work a day job or develop any skills.
Again, I think it's him just literally saying, I only care about money. Don't you understand that? I'm not here for politics. It's the presentation. I'm doing pro wrestling. I know. It's amazing to me that he's this blunt about it. I didn't think people usually are.
He's been blunt about it for a while. He thinks he's smart. It's like when idiots brag about being good liars in public, because they think they're really clever when they, trick their grandmothers into giving them an extra $20 bill when they go to do the groceries so they can buy chocolate for themselves. It's that kind of thing. Some people don't grow out of it.
That nobody's being suppressed due to talking about that topic. Some of your favorite creators' most watched videos in their entire career are about Israel.
No. A lot of people are being suppressed talking about Israel, if they are harmless. So a lot of people like Noah Samson, for example, have very successful videos talking about Palestine because they're harmless. Why? Because their principal targets are people on YouTube. They're people on YouTube. It's like it's the equivalent of like when who's that Oliveira guy who like goes to India and he has like a GoPro and he goes like, India sucks, and he just goes around and he just rants about how he doesn't like the hotels and the food and whatnot, and like, all these travel people are bullshitters. And the fact of the matter is, India's a real place, so there's going to be a lot of good food, there's going to be a lot of bad food, there's going to be a lot of messy hotels and a lot of nice hotels, because it's a real place and it's not a theme park. So if you go through it and you're not just plugging it as a foodie tourist video, it's going to be a little bit rough around the edges because it's got shit going on. Just like there were a couple of travel people who came to like travel YouTubers who came to my city recently, and they had a video about it. And all I was thinking watching is like, wow, they were really assiduous about making sure that you don't see the entire streets that are occupied by hundreds of neglected homeless people when they were taking these shots, because you actually can't walk through the downtown of my city without seeing all of the people that my country refuses to provide any sort of facility or housing for, after dumping them all out of the mental facilities. So it's like it's like that.
It's still rude to me, damn it!
Like you can make pro-Palestine content and it can do well if the content is, Destiny is pro-genocide. Guys, did you know that this YouTuber in America who has no political power is a really bad guy with really bad opinions? Wow, 1 million views. Wow. I really don't think Netanyahu is quaking in his boots about that. I just really don't think they care. So like obviously that stuff isn't going to cause you problems. Like Nick Fuentes gets invited to the White House. He's been openly anti-Semitic. Not like anti-Semitic in the way that pro-Palestine people are accused of being, like in the old school. And
he's ruthless.
And
he's outwardly it. Yes.
Yeah, and he's fine. He got invited to the White House afterwards. He got canceled only when it became inconvenient to the administration. Which means none of these people are an inconvenience to the administration. They're not a threat. Google allows you on. That's the thing. If Google is allowing you on, you are not radical. As a rule. Professor Dave made that very point. I mean, good, but it's the same thing. I'm not down on Professor Dave for making a video calling out Destiny. I'm just saying I don't care. I just don't care. Like, it's and I think, to be honest with you, I think collectively we have to move past caring about these people because they are actually a waste of time. And wasting time is something we should start caring about because it is not a limitless resource. People who've been watching YouTube for 6-7 years and that's their engagement with politics, they're coming out of that 6-7 year period having learned nothing. It's lost time. And meanwhile, the bigger clock is still ticking. And there's fewer left.
Don't be a fucking mark. Now, this is not to say there should never be pushback or education or debunking of right-wing arguments. This is not to say that we shouldn't be talking about Palestine or that every video addressing Israel or Palestine or Candace Owens or insert right-wing rogues gallery here is a cynical thing and that people are grifting. These are
just with you it is.
Important and interesting topics to talk about, which is why I will still make videos related to them.
You slime ball. He will still make videos related to... He didn't make any videos related to Palestine until this year. We know this because in his video where he was responding to people accusing him of being quiet about Palestine, he pulled up all the clips he could find of him mentioning it, and it was like 5, half of which were on other people's channels. I don't think any of which were in any of his actual videos. Just repulsive. It's genuinely parasitic behavior. Like, you have made nothing on Palestine, but now you're going to try to claim credit for standing for Palestine. You will continue to do so. Unbelievable.
When the time comes. And this also isn't to say that some folks don't receive negativity from Zionists online for criticizing Israel, because they do. But I just want to...
Some people do. Some people, really? Some people... He's still trying to both sides it. That's what's funny about it. Some people receive... Some people, Zionists are mean to some people online, guys, for criticizing Israel, genociding Palestinians. Sometimes, not all the time, just sometimes, Zionists can be a little mean.
I say that all this extra mythologizing, a lot of the stuff y'all hear and take as truth about your favorite creator, risking something about their content creation career on YouTube because they spoke the truth about Palestine, is just mostly not true. The only person I maybe give some respect to is Sean, because he was the first person to make a video about the genocide relatively early after it started, and it was a big main channel video.
I'm a little curious about
that. So he's going to name drop and say good job to what?
Sean, the anonymous skull. Hang on. I'm just curious about something. So Sean's video.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Sean's video was from 25th of February 2024. I'm just a little curious about something. Give me a sec. My video was from 2023. Just saying. People were late on this. People waited a long time to talk about this until it was very safe. This is what a lot of people don't remember. This is my video, Israel's Naked Act of Genocide. I'll expand it in the title so you can see it. Not that I'm like you can't even find this anymore because the old channel is demonetized. It's like right here. This is from December 2023. A lot of these big lefty creators, not to toot my own horn or whatever, because it doesn't matter, but like a lot of these big lefty creators waited a long time, like a long time, to cover this stuff. Why? Because there's a lot of money in this. Sean was relatively early compared to a lot of these people, but they took so long. They waited so long. They waited until it's just like FD Signifier with his Charlie Kirk video. Everybody comes out with videos. A bunch of channels get demonetized. People get fired. He is silent. And months later, comes out with the big one. 1 million views. And brain dead audience is like, oh my god. It's like it's pathetic. It's so sad. This is why I blame the audience. This is people willfully eating slop. And you can tell them it's slop and they'll still eat it.
But beyond that, this is just y'all aggrandizing what it means for your favorite creator to make a video about something you like or think is important. I think a lot of marks want this to be real because they want to feel like doing something when they're...
If you watch FD Signifier and you take him seriously, you're a mark. And he knows it. He 100% knows it. It's why he feels good about this, because he thinks you deserve it. And he thinks he's better than you because he conned you. That's it. Is there any merit in watching the rest of this? I am so bored. He is so boring.
There's never merit in watching anything he's made, so no, probably.
Like he says literally nothing, and he contradicts himself still. It's like it's funny that he was actually also like networking with I can't remember his name, that Michael Burns guy, who does the same thing. It's just like it's identity first, and then there's no content in the content. He says nothing. There's name dropping. There's maybe the barest of a reference to a topic that he doesn't go into at all because he doesn't have the capacity to. And it name drop again, talk about himself, give me money. It's ugh. It's silly to insinuate FD and these people simply waited until it was safe. No, they waited till it was safe. Why are you defending this? Who's paying you? They don't care about you. Have some dignity, Jesus Christ. No, the thing I listen to go to sleep at night. It's still cool, okay? Stop it. Stop it. No, actually waiting months later. Yeah, he did wait. He did wait. Don't be a fanboy, it's pathetic. Have some independence.